Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jane. I'm working here for UNHCR in Korea. But I've been working for UNHCR for about 16 years in different countries. And today I'm going to talk about Yemen. Concern Worldwide asked me to come today. They're a partner of UNHCR in many countries. I worked with Concern Worldwide in Darfur in Sudan about 12, 13 years ago, and I extend my support and solidarity with Concern Worldwide as a very strong partner of working with refugees. So Yemen is experiencing one of the world's worst humanitarian crises by almost any measure, by the measure of the scale of number of people who have been killed, by the scale of hunger, by the scale of displacement. It's an enormous crisis. Yemen is an extremely difficult and dangerous place for journalists to travel to, which is why it's very impressive that Young Mi was able to go there. So a consequence of that is that it doesn't get a lot of coverage and it's not widely understood, particularly in comparison with Syria. Here in Korea, as you probably know, there are quite a number of Syrian refugees and now quite a number of Yemeni refugees. And one of the frustrations for the Yemenis is that people don't understand our country. People understand about Syria, they understand the crisis there, but our country is less well understood. So just some key humanitarian statistics. There are over 22 million people in Yemen in need of humanitarian assistance, including food, shelter, medical care and basic protection. In Yemen, there are over 2 million internally displaced people. So that's people who've had to flee from their home but have not crossed an international border. But of course, it's very difficult to get very accurate numbers due to the security risks associated with even collecting that sort of data. And there are 14 million people at risk of famine and severe food insecurity on the hunger scale. And Yemen is number 3, so it's in the category of alarming. So it's an extremely serious situation. So as I mentioned, 17.8 million people are food insecure. These are statistics from the World Food Programme. 8.4 million people are severely food insecure and relying entirely on external assistance for eating, for their food supply. Child malnutrition rates are among the highest in the world. A third of families hardly ever consume pulses or beans, vegetables, fruit, dairy products or meat. And more than half of all families are buying food on credit. So we have a complete collapse of the food economy and people's ability to purchase food. One factor in Yemen is it's a country, as I mentioned, it had quite a fragile economy in the past. Over 30% of Yemenis had depended on government salaries and pensions prior to the war. These have been suspended since 2016, so that source of income and injection of cash into the economy is gone, which is, of course, contributing to the lack of accessibility of food in the country. As I mentioned, prior to the conflict, the Yemen economy was highly dependent on imports. So once those imports are blocked off, the food supply becomes very unstable. The Sana'a airport is under siege, also the port of Hodeidah. During the course of the war, on both sides, there have been deliberate destruction of not only the food supply, but water, medical supplies, and other life-supporting infrastructure, so that normal markets and economy can't function. Prices rise, people can't afford basic items, even if they're there. The price is so high that people can't afford them. And of course, medical supplies are extremely difficult to procure, making it extremely difficult to provide medical services, hospitals, surgery, etc. And the salaries of government services are not paid. Basic government services, police, sanitation, that type of infrastructure is broken down. There is a no-camp policy in place by the UN Humanitarian Country Team, which means that the UN is providing assistance in a way that doesn't encourage encampments, that helps people in the place where they are, rather than assistance that encourages people to congregate in large camps, which can also bring other types of vulnerabilities to displaced people. So a lot of displaced people are living in unfinished buildings, in makeshift sites, living on the edge of cities, highly exposed, highly vulnerable. Cash assistance is being distributed due to what I explained, that in some cases there are items available, but people cannot afford to buy them. There are shelter, water and sanitation programs. You may not know, but prior to the war, Yemen was a refugee hosting country. I'll mention this as I'm from UNHCR. Yemen continues to host refugees. They're mostly from Somalia and Ethiopia. So there are currently 279,000 refugees from those and several other countries living in Yemen. So for UNHCR, our work in Yemen is not only with the internally displaced people and local humanitarian needs, but also protection of those refugees who remain in the country. I've just got a slide there on UNHCR's presence. There's actually one refugee camp, mostly with Ethiopian refugees in the south of the country. So UNHCR works in these various governorates of Yemen, in Yemen, but also with the refugee population in the south and also refugee population in Sana'a. Yemen has a different geography. It's a peninsula, a little bit like Korea. So there are Yemeni refugees in Saudi, in Djibouti, small numbers in Somalia and Ethiopia. There are about 2,000 to 3,000 Yemeni refugees in Malaysia. And as I'm sure you're all familiar, there's about 500 Yemeni refugees who arrived in Jeju, and in addition to them, there's about approximately another 400 to 500 Yemeni refugees who are already living in around Seoul and elsewhere in Korea. So the numbers of refugees is actually quite low. There are almost 6 million Syrian refugees, but there are around 40 to 50,000 Yemeni refugees outside the country. Most people simply haven't been able to get out of the country. Here in Seoul, UNHCR, we've been trying to keep in touch with the Yemeni community, especially the Yemenis in Jeju, and just yesterday, one representative of the Yemeni community came to us, and we were asking him, of these 500 refugees that came, they're mostly men, they're mostly young men, are they married, do they have families? And he was saying to me, each one of those people has many, many people in Malaysia, in Djibouti, in Ethiopia, in other places, depending on them, hoping that they can help them to survive this conflict. So this is the coping strategy, and I think this is important in Korea to understand, because people did question why men, why all men, where are the women, where are the children? But this is how people survive. They send one person, because it's costly to send somebody that far, in the hope that that person will find some stability, maybe some income, some way to survive the conflict and to help the other family members to survive the conflict. But before I do that, I just wanted to echo some of the things in the Concern Worldwide report, and that is that hunger and displacement are not humanitarian problems, they are political problems. And there is an expression in the humanitarian profession that there are no humanitarian solutions to humanitarian problems, there are only political solutions. And the humanitarian assistance is necessary. We all need to support it if we can, but it isn't the solution. It helps people to survive until the war finishes, but it isn't the solution that brings people back to a safe and functioning country. But I just want to play you this very short clip from my colleague. Her name is Wanna Cha from Sana'a.
안녕하세요. 저는 UNHCR 예멘 사나에서 근무하고 있는 차원나라고 합니다. 만나서 반갑습니다. 사나에 맨 처음에 도착했을 적에는 하늘이 너무나 높고 청명하여서 한국의 가을과 비슷하다 이런 생각을 하였는데요. 금방 그 밑에 붕괴되어 있는 도로나 다리, 건물들을 보면서 여기가 정말 전쟁을 겪고 있는 나라구나, 어려운 상황이구나 이런 것을 실감하게 되었습니다. 현재 예멘 인구를 한 3천만 명 정도로 보았을 적에 4분의 3 정도가 인도적인 지원이 필요할 정도로 좀 어려운 실정이고요. 그 중에 800만 명 정도는 매일 배식을 받아야 될 정도로 심각합니다. 상황이 이렇다 보니 위생 상태에도 많이 힘든 실정인데요. 예를 들어서 작년에는 콜레라가 발병하여서 결국 2,300명 정도가 사망에 이르렀습니다. 예멘 전쟁이 2015년으로부터 시작되어서 지금 현재 3만 명 정도의 사상자를 내고 있는데요. 그 중에서 가장 격전지라고 볼 수 있는 곳은 후데이다라는 곳으로 물자의 70에서 90% 정도를 수입하는 중요한 통로인데, 이 물자 중에서 지원품도 상당 부분 차지하고 있어서 UNHCR을 비롯한 다른 인도주의 기구들이 많은 어려움을 겪고 있습니다. 감사합니다.